Okay, in this session, I'm going to write one script. So let's understand what the script here. What is the scenario? Scenario is to automate. We need to launch the browser using WebDriver, and then we need to open google.com page, and then we need to send the text into the search bar, and then we need to click on search button, and then we need to close the browser. So what we need to do? We need to automate this process. We need to open the google.com and we need to send some text into this text box. Yes, no. And then we need to close the browser. Let's open our ID. Now here, go to the config folder under SRC test resources. There is a configuration.properties file. Here in the test URL value, here we have changed as a give the google.com. Let's now we're going to create one test class. So I'm going to create one test class. So I give the test class like Google homepage tester. Homepage tester. Let's select Google homepage tester class. And under this tester class, I need to define method public. Let's define test method public void Google homepage test. I'm going to write test Google homepage. And now we need to annotate at the rate test annotation. And now we need to extend this class by using base test class, because in base test class, we have written the common logic to launching browser, loading web page, and closing the browser. Now, once browser is open, now we want to maximize the browser window, suppose. So I want to maximize the browser, yes, no? Browser. So how we can maximize? Using WebDriver. So WebDriver dot we need to call manage, and dot we need to call window method, and on window what we want to maximize the window. And then now once we maximize the window, then we need, once web page is loaded, now what we need to do, we need to find the search box first of all. So in the web page we need to find this search box. How we can find this search box? Okay, we can inspect this element and we can write selector. So here you can write Xpath. We can write Xpath to select that element. Go to the selector hubs, and here we writing the Xpath. So here I need to select which element? I need to select this input element. I'm writing / input element, and which element I want to select, which contains name attribute value like, I'm writing / I'm using contains method. I have already used contains method. Now I need to use contains method. So let's select that one. I'm selecting input element whose name attribute name attribute what contains name attribute contains value like q, comma, suppose what is the value q. Okay, not selecting. Okay, check here what is the name attribute value. Name attribute value is q. So we need to select that. In what is the in this is not input element, this is a text area element. So here we need to write text area. So text area. Okay, you can remove 1 minute. Okay, again inspect this element. You can inspect this element 1 minute. You can inspect that element. Now we have inspect. Then you can write selector hubs. Go to the selector hub. You can write here Xpath. What the Xpath? I want to select which element? Text area element. So you can check here. There are two text area, but which text area we need to select? Whose name attribute value is q. So you can use @name equal to q also. It means you are selecting that input element whose name attribute value q. Now you are able to select that element. Now go to the ID, and now here you can find element. Yes, no, you can find element. Which element you need to find? Search box. You need to find search box. find the search box. How we can find? Using WebDriver. So WebDriver dot find element. We have added find element, and now here we are find element using which selector? Using Xpath. So by dot I'm using Xpath, and here we are passing our Xpath. So this is the Xpath to find the search element. So now what it will return? It will return one web element. Let's we store into one variable. I give the variable name like web element search box. What we give the search box. Now once you select this element, now what you need to do after selecting this element, once you find this element, then what is the next task? Next task, you need to send that text into this text box. So then first find, and then what is the action we need to perform with that element? You need to send a text. You need to send a text into search box. Yes, no? So this web search box reference contains search box. So on this search box, you need to call method send keys. If you want to send the text, yes, no? So you can call send keys method. What send you want to send a key? Suppose I want to send a key Selenium. I want to send a key Selenium. And then after that, you want to search this one. Yes, no? So once you suppose you have typed here Selenium, yes, no? Selenium. And then you want to click on this search bar. Yes, no? You want to click on this Google search button. So now we need to locate which element we need to find out. Google search button. Right click, you can click inspect, and now we need to find that input element. So which element we want to find? This button, this input button. So you can check here what the name attribute value. Name attribute value is btnk. So you can locate that element also. Which element? Input element. So slash input slash input. I'm selecting that input element. Which attribute? At the rate name attribute equal to b. So now it select one element. It select two elements. There are two elements with that name. So input at the rate. Okay, now what we can do? It's selecting two element at the rate name equal to blnk. So check here this input element. I need to check this input element. What the value Google search? You can use value attribute also to search an element. So you can use value attribute in place of at the rate. You can use at the rate value attribute. So let's still there is two element with Google search. Two element having so name and label. Xpath. I want to select this input element. You can write selector of. You can check it. Copy relative Xpath, and let's paste here. So now, okay. So you can check it. This is just selected to find this element. So I need to find which element. Actually, you can check it. There are several elements. Yes, no, with this name attribute. So under the div element, you can check if we have one class. I'm select this is a which element. Under this element, we have one element, which one input element. We need to select that input element whose name attribute blnk. So this is the X path for selecting that Google search. Now we can search. Yes, no, we need to find Google search button. Find the Google search button. Google search button. We need to write an X path. Yes, no. So WebDriver, we can write WebDriver dot find element. I'm using Xpath, so by dot Xpath, and we're passing our Xpath to find a Google search button. Now it return web element, so you can store in one variable. So we declare one variable web element. I give the variable name like Google search button. A BTN we can say Google search BTN. Okay, once you able to find this button, then what the next task? What action you need to specify the action with that element. I want to click on this search button. Yes, no. I want to click on this search button. So I want to perform which action with the that button? On the Google search button, I want to perform click action. So you can call click method on that element. So now it will perform click action. Now we need to perform click action. Now we need to close the browser, yes, no? And then we need to close the browser. Browser is closed, and then what we need to, here we display only one statement, yes, no? The test is successful. Test successful. Just I'm writing this test successful. Put the semicolon. Now save it. You can check here. Now test is successful. So here you can check here. Here we written the script. We have launched the browser. We open the Google page, and then we send the text into the search box. Then click on search button, and then we close the browser. Now run this test case, and you can check the output. Now you can check here. Browser is load. Now you can check here. Here type the search, and now Selenium. Now it searches. Now it's close the browser. Okay, we have not closed the browser. So if you want to close the browser, go to the base test class. Here have we need to uncomment this line. So right now we have commented this line, but now here you can check here. Yes, no. It will launch a browser. Yes, no. And it will searches Google. It searches which one keyword? Selenium keyword. I hope it's clear how we can write this script. Thank you.